This morning, right before 7 o'clock at about 6:55, officers were called to the 1400 block of West Lamar Boulevard. This is the Lamar High School. We got several calls of shots fired outside the school in an area where students normally walk in the morning. When officers arrived, they found one student had been shot, another one was injured, and they did find the suspect and also recover a weapon at that time. The one student that was shot was in critical condition and was transported by ground ambulance to a local level 1 trauma center. Another student that was slightly injured, we were told, was transported by a parent immediately to a local hospital. The suspect that was detained is a juvenile, and we're told that the two persons that were injured also are juveniles, so I do not have any information that I can legally release about their identity at this time. The suspect was transported to our police department juvenile holding facility area. Once that happened, we immediately placed the school on lockdown. We have a great relationship with the Arlington Independent School District, who also embed school resource officers in the school who were there immediately and were able to not only render assistance, but then make sure all the other students were safe. Many of the students then were not even getting into the school because this occurred before the school opens, normally about 7:35. So luckily enough, we don't have a full school to deal with, but as is our procedure, we immediately lock the school down and search every part of the school to make sure there's no other shooters, no other weapons, and nobody else is injured. That search just completed a few minutes ago. It was determined that the safest method to get the students that are still in the school back to their families is to have an area where they could be transported by bus. That location will be 1001 East Division Street. It's called the AISD Athletic Center next to their Center for Visual and Performing Arts. This is just off of Division Street south of the stadiums. So the students are going to be bused from the school to that location so their parents can pick them up. And the school district wanted me to make sure everybody knew that even if they drove their own car to school or they walked to school, however they got to school, they're all going to be transported to this area over at this athletic center. They believe that they can start releasing students from there at about noon.
What was this shooting about? What can you tell us?
Right now, we don't really know what started the shooting. We don't believe that this was anything where the student was going to try and shoot multiple people at the school. We believe it may have been targeted, but we don't have enough information right now to know whether or not that is exactly what happened. We do believe that we have the one shooter detained and the weapon recovered, but they're still working on the investigation right now. We have several officers at the school, including detectives, that are going to be working this case today.
Do we have any indication right now if both the suspect and the victims were students at this school?
I have been told, as far as I know, all the persons involved, including the two people that were injured and the shooter, were students. I'm not sure if they were students at that particular school. Nobody's confirmed which school they go to.
You know what go ahead.
Just on that note, was there any indication prior, like social media, that students had been beefing?
That's all part of the investigation. We do not know.
Talk about the importance of that relationship that you do have with Arlington ISD so that everybody is able to act quickly in a situation like this. You all like the communication and the relationship that you have.
Exactly. So with the school district, we've been in contact with their public information officers. They are telling me they may be available later at this Reunification Center to provide further information. But having our school resource officers there, I think, made a big difference into how quickly we were able to respond and know what was going on to make this as safe as possible, as soon as possible.
Can you talk about taking this juvenile into custody? How did that happen? Was it just standing around when you got there or what?
I do not know. I have not been able to talk to the actual officer that made the arrest.
As far as the scene goes, obviously 2 injuries. Was it kind of chaotic trying to get them, to get medical treatment and that kind of thing? What was the scene like?
I'm told it was packed with a lot of cars, and that may be the reason why the one student that was injured was transported by their parent directly to the hospital. But the ambulance was able to get in there and transport the other student by ground.
Happen to have an ETA to reopen Lamar and all the streets around?
As soon as we get the students out of there, which should be released by bus in just a little bit, then we'll have the roadway open pretty soon.
So what kind of weapon we're talking about?
I know one victim was shot for sure. The other one was injured either by some kind of flying debris or maybe a round from this weapon.
And what's their
What kind of
condition?
gun?
I don't know exactly what type or size of gun was used, and the condition of the other student I don't know, but I'm told that the injury was not life-threatening.
You mentioned that a parent transported the student, so were
Yes.
there other parents like dropping off their
Exactly, and that's what would normally be going on at school this time of the morning. So several of the kids that were coming to school or getting dropped off at school, at that point, everything was locked down and they just didn't even come into school. So we don't have a full school that we're dealing with like would be normally later in the day with how early this happened.
So was the suspect held down by parents? I mean,
I don't know, but I do know we would have 2 school resource officers that get to that school pretty early in the morning, but I have not been told the details of how the arrest was made. I can try and work on getting that.
How many students are in the school? You said it was before the school started. How many are being bused to the reunification center?
I do not know that right now, but I can try and find out from the school district.
What will you do with the students who may have transportation problems?
They will be held at this athletic center until we can get a hold of a parent or get somebody to give them a ride home, that type of thing. And that's why this will start at noon, even though it's only after 10 o'clock right now, because it's going to take a minute to get them all identified, get their IDs down, and who they're being released to.
And why was there a sweep of the school? Is that procedure?
That's normal procedure to make sure that there's no other situation going on, that there's no other people who would be involved in this shooting or anything like that. Helps us identify witnesses so we can talk to them and find out what they saw that happened.
You said the officers responded to shots fired call. Who made these 911 calls? Was that different students?
I do not know. I know we got numerous calls all at the same time. So I imagine it would have been parents in the parking lot and school administrators or teachers that were in the area, that type of thing.
Are there officers on campus in the morning at the
Yes,
school?
yes. We have 2 full-time officers that are assigned to that campus.
so what is the protocol now with the students? Are you going to check each one individually, make sure that they don't have anything with them, their backpacks?
That's already been done. That's what's going on in the sweep for the last couple hours to make sure that all the students have been checked, all the rooms have been checked, and all the different areas outside the school have been checked, that there's no other threats known.
But again, this happened before they even reached that point. This was outside the school.
Outside the school, but there were already people inside the school before that, or that came into other entrances. So there were students coming into the school. So just so you know, Lamar High School will not have school today, but the other schools are operating normally in Arlington.
And I think your answer to her question was that you believe these are all students?
We believe, we just don't know. A lot of times it may involve somebody from another school or something like that. I just have not received that information to confirm which school they go to right now.
To clarify, both injuries were non-life-threatening?
No, one of them was transported in critical condition.
And still is?
And still is, as far as I know.
The one that was shot?
Shot and transported. And then the other one that was hit by something, I don't know, but I'm told that was a non-life-threatening injury.
Was the person who shot's parents, like their own parents, the ones who transported them?
One of them was, but the other one was transported by ground ambulance to a level 1 trauma center.
But you don't know which, if the parents were the parents of the kid that was shot?
It was a parent. Okay, so there's two students that were injured. One that was most seriously injured was transported by ambulance. The other one that was not as seriously injured, I am told, was transported by their own parent who was on scene and was able to get them there quicker than trying to wait for an ambulance to come there and get
Were
back.
they dropping them off, or was the parent just there? Was the kid in the car?
I don't know if they had already dropped off the student, but they were still there in the area, I believe. That they probably would not have been able to get back in with all the chaos.
Were both students a target of this shooter, or was the one less seriously injured, maybe just a bystander?
I do not know who his target was at this time, but we'll work on trying to find that out.
Are both victims and suspect male or female?
I am told that the suspect is a male, that the critically injured student is a male, and the other person was a female. All are under the age of 17.
The one not so seriously injured is a female.
Right.
And is it possible? I think you said that it's possible that the less seriously injured victim may have been shot. It's just not clear.
Right. We're just not clear what caused the injury. Sometimes a bullet can hit something on the ground and cause that to come off, or it could have been something else, or it could have been a piece of the bullet ricocheting off something. I don't know what caused that injury, but I do know that it was serious enough that she was taken to a hospital.
Did your officers have to fire any rounds, or was it just the shooters?
I am told the only 2, I understand there may have been 2 rounds fired, but our officers did not fire any rounds. and there were no other parents or anybody else firing rounds, as far as I'm told.
Where's the level 1 trauma center?
There's several of them around. I don't know if I can give that information out at this time, which hospital that patient was transported to.
And then the suspect was apprehended by your officer, or was he taken down by other students?
That I don't know the exact events that happened in that time.
Have the detectives determined what offenses the suspect will be?
Well, it depends on the level of injury and what happens as they get through the investigation. But I know, first of all, to bring a gun to school is a bad idea to begin with. There are several other ways that we could have helped the situation where it wouldn't have involved that. That would be an automatic, I believe, a felony charge to even bring the weapon in or nearby the school or in the parking lot to the school. So there's definitely a charge there, and then whatever either aggravated assault or that type of thing occurred afterward. Those would be the offenses we would imagine we would be looking at.
Do we know
The
what
first day after spring
Hold,
break.
hold on just a second.
The first day after spring break, is there going to be heightened security tomorrow when school is open technically for the first day?
There could be. I don't even know if the school will be open. That would be a question for AISD.
And this is obviously an ongoing problem, and especially sparks an alarm for parents and for students of school shootings. Do you believe that Arlington PD, and in collaboration with the school district and the school resource officers, handled this correctly?
I believe so, because they were there immediately. The injuries, whatever occurred, I'm told occurred very quickly and was stopped. And the fact that we have a whole separate unit of a threat response unit that is looking for these kind of things. So the big thing that we need from our community is if we find out tomorrow that somebody was like, oh, I had heard something like that might happen, but I didn't want to say anything, that's the problem. We need to know before it happens so we can respond and have the information we need. We don't have any information that there was any type of social media threat that would be seen, but we have a specialized part of our police department that does nothing but that, looking for those threats and trying to determine if anything like this is coming up. It's unfortunate. We want the school to be a safe place for the students, for the faculty, for the teachers, for everybody, and we need help with that so that the community can help us. If they know anything like this would be in a threat or information that this would occur, please contact us. We'll do everything we can to prevent it.
At this point, do you know who this gun belonged to?
No, we're working on all that right now. I imagine there will be search warrants. There will be investigations at other locations to determine whatever was leading up to this offense.
And without seeing the school, can you describe this? How far from the front door of the school? Is this a parking lot?
I'm told it's right near the parking lot on the east side of the school, where there's some steps that you would actually walk up to go into the door. So I don't know the exact distance, but it would have been at the edge of the parking lot, actually on the main ground of the campus, not across the street. There's another north parking lot north of Lamar Boulevard that I'm told, this was the parking lot to the south of Lamar Boulevard, not too far from the school building.
Was the gun found on the suspect?
I don't know, but I believe that it was recovered shortly after. I just don't have the specific details of how everything went down right after the shooting.
Which agencies are involved in the investigation? Is it just Arlington Police?
Right now, it's just Arlington Police. We have detectives and the school resource unit that'll be working together hand in hand, along with the school district too, to make sure that everything is safe as possible.